Hello and welcome to the season finale of Project Twingo. You might be wondering, why on earth, John, are you doing a season finale for a YouTube series that could be never ending? Well, tune in and we'll talk about that in a minute. So this video is going to be a bit different to all the other videos that I've done on this series, so it's going to be in this room, me talking and looking back at some footage over what has ostensibly been a video a week every week for the last 7 months, which has been quite taxing at times, rewarding at others. And yeah, the goal was to take a car, it wasn't going to be a Twingo originally, from just a car to something that could go on track days, and we have done that. So that seems like a natural stopping point for the moment, where we can put this series to rest for a little bit before we start with series 2, because the story is very definitely not over. Let's talk about what the goal was. Obviously it was to get a car, race it, learn a bit about mechanics, and originally I was looking at Ford KAs or Citroen C1s, Skoda Citigos or Peugeot 107s, because there was a few interesting race series that I could perhaps, if I enjoyed it, move into. There's the Enduro Car Championship, which I'll put a picture of up somewhere here, and there's also the City Car Cup. So these cars, there's quite a few of them around, but they were, to get a decent one, you were looking at about £1,000 as a base, and then probably spending about £5,000 to make it to race spec. And then you have the hassle of, I need to be a qualified racing driver. That costs about £500 in the UK all in. And then you need all the FI race safety gear, so you need fireproof everything. That's about another £500,000. No, easily £1,000, because helmets are about 500 alone. And it all just started adding up for something that I wasn't actually sure whether I'd enjoy or not. So then I decided to get an absolute banger of a car and do that up instead. And that's where the Twingo came in, because we saw that in a field and went, let's take a chance and see whether the farmer wants to get rid of this. And he did. So what does £150 get you on a car? Well, in this instance, this is a 2010 Renault Twingo 1.2 8-valve with a majestic 58 horsepower, and it's not got an MOT. It's also missing half of the V5 certificate, so it makes it slightly problematic to register, and pretty much every panel has a mark or a ding or a scrape on it. Even the decal on the back here is completely worn off. It's been sat in this field here for the best part of a year, and before that it was sat in someone else's garden for about a year since the MOT expired on it, which the previous year, so this was last MOT'd in 2018, was absolutely fine. So the reason why it's been just sat, not being used, is a bit of a mystery, but there are some clues later on in the video. If you thought the outside was bad, well, the inside is probably worse. Previous owner looks like he enjoyed some recreational activities in here, judging by the discarded items. It's got an air freshener at least. There's plenty of cigarette burns in the seats, and whilst making this a track day car means most of the interior is going, it would probably have to go anyway, because it appears a family of mice have took up residence in the passenger seat and eaten it to death. So yeah, it was in a pretty grim state, and it looks a lot better now. And the other thing I noticed looking back at this is just how much better the audio sounds thanks to this. But we don't want to sit here and listen to me recap 20 odd episodes of stuff, so never did figure out why it was abandoned then. Never managed to get a hold of the original owners and talk with them about it, but certainly it would have failed an MOT, and they probably knew it would have failed an MOT. Both front suspension cores were broken. It had no serpentine belt, so the alternator was broken. Battery was beyond replacing, so I think they perhaps had an accident, based on how dented all the body panels are. The front and rear number plates were different. So yeah, I think it had been in a bit of a shunt somewhere and they just hadn't bothered to claim on the insurance and repair it. So that's what I did. So that car cost me £150. Let's talk about how much it actually cost me to get it MOT'd and on a track day. Because that was the other sort of goal for this, was I can pay £800 or £1,000 to rent a car for one track day. Can I buy a car and track day it for less? Because if I can, then every other track day after this becomes significantly cheaper than just renting one. So let's have a look. Right, so obviously the car was £150 to start with, and then we need some initial bits to get it going. So a battery air filter, some front brake pads, oil filter, fuel filter, 5 litres of oil, front discs, 2 litres of brake fluid and some brake cleaner with a 45% off at Eurocar Parts came to an additional £175.29. Then we needed the Serpentine belts, that was £10 and 5 pence. I bought an owner's manual for £14.90. I needed my helmet for £74.99. Turns out those brake discs I ordered weren't actually in stock, so I got a refund of £67.76 and then had to buy some bog standard ones for £50.68. 4 spark plugs for £9.51 and then a new sump plug for £4.99, and then I could actually service the thing. Then we started noticing the suspension was a bit wonky, so £40 for an entire new suspension unit for the front offside. That was off eBay from a car breaker. Then I needed another one for the other sides, but that was £30. And then I thought, right, MOT time. So £54 for the MOT. That gives us a total spend for absolutely everything to do with the car. To get it to the MOT, which it passed first time out, £546.65. So pretty good. But we didn't stop there. So obviously it was on steel wheels, not great. It was on some cheap Chinese tyres that had been sat in the field for years. So 5 alloys off Facebook Marketplace, £100. 5 tyres, £195. I actually sold some of the interior trim that I stripped out for £30 to someone in a Facebook Marketplace group. It cost me £40 to get those tyres fitted. The rain necessitated some new front wiper blades at £15.33. I needed some extra bolts for the wheels because some of them were looking a bit dodgy. Once I'd stripped the door cards off, I realised I couldn't shut the doors, so that's £9.90 worth of door pulls. So the cost for the cost to get to the first track day suddenly became £881 and 1 pence. Again, for a little track day toy, I really don't think that's too bad. Okay, so these are some of the pictures from the track day that were done by the organiser. Look pretty good, but you can see the amount of body roll on the Twingo, and this is because it's stock suspension. It is mismatched suspension, so that's definitely an avenue that I want to improve. I'm glad I took all the weight out of it because it was slow as anything on the straights. I think there is a bit more that I can pull out of there. But yeah, it was a good amount of strippage coming out of this car, and it certainly helped it carry the 58 horsepower along to a 2-minute 50, which I think can be probably down to 2-minute 30s or 40s on a good day. But let's talk about how much weight did actually come out of this car. So it was 925 kilos dry according to Renault, and then I took all this stuff out. So there was quite a lot in the rear bench and spare tyre. Rear trim is like all the seat belts, brackets, everything else. Roof lining is pretty light. Front carpets you saw were heavy as anything. I could not believe how heavy they were. Front trim is everything in the sort of dashboard, glove box area. Alloys, sadly, added 12 kilos on, so if I got some lightweight ones, those would certainly help there. CD, that's all the CD player and all the trim around it. Front door cards include the speakers, so some good savings there, although I do need to put something back on there. And then that mystery metal block saves 6.5 kilo by itself. To a total, currently I estimate 846 dry. So that's a pretty good retrospective of what's happened. Let's talk about where I want to go with the Twingo. So I want to do more of this, but it's going to be done at a slower pace than it has been the last 7 months. So there will be a season 2, might be more seasons, who knows. but the videos will be as and when. So make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because I will probably give like a week's notice to whenever the next video comes out, and I'd be tempted to say it's probably going to be once a month, and there'll be much longer videos than the weekly ones. But there's a lot of things I want to do to the car. So first up is going to be coilovers, and then probably a bucket seat so I'm not sliding around in the car entirely. And then we're going to go another track day, and we're just going to hammer those, and from there on we will sort of see how we go and react to things. There's a few things in the back of my head that I want to do. There's more bits I can take out of the car to make it lighter. I reckon I can get it down to about 800 kilos, maybe a bit under, in the 700s. Things just like taking the rear wipers off, swapping batteries out for a lightweight lithium one. But ultimately it's going to have a half cage. There'll be harnesses in there. Might take the glass out and make it polycarbonate. That might save some weight. Lightweight steering wheel, better than the horrible huge thing that's there. So yeah, lots of things to do. So I hope you will like and subscribe this video, and then you will be kept up to date whenever a video comes out. So thanks for watching all 28 episodes of this series, and I'll see you soon. Oh, and before I go, I do have a merch store. There's some cool things on there. Here are some of those cool things. Anything that you buy helps fund this mad project. So again, there's another option to help out the channel if you wish. Goodbye.